Today I'm going to be talking about SendCutSend.com. I'm going to assume you already have some knowledge of what SendCutSend is. If you don't, it's basically an online, on-demand metal cutting service, if you will. You can draft something up in a CAD program, send it over to them, they'll cut it out, mail it back to you. It really is that simple. We're not talking lathe parts or anything like that, or any milling, just straight cutting. Whether it be water jet, laser, router, whatever it may be, flat cutting, they also offer bending. With that service, they also offer finishing on top of it, whether it be some type of plating or powder coating. That's still something you can get as well. So I'm going to run through some points of their commercial real quick before I show you my part.
Today I want to talk to you guys about surface quality and edge quality and what to expect when you order parts from us. This is hot roll, but it's in a slightly thinner thickness. This is 375. Again, really smooth edge quality. No big imperfections that should be expected. There will be some light scratches, especially on the underside when we load. You'll have some scratches. Typically you can't catch it with your fingernail. If it's a deep gouge, that's a problem. Let us know, we'll remake your part. We offer free deburring, so if you want it to have like a brushed finish, we can do that for you at no charge. But if you choose to opt out of that, there will be some scratches. After your parts are cut and quality inspected for the first time, the next step is to go through our finishing department. First part is to go through our brushing machine to remove any dross or minor scratches on your parts.
Powder coating your water jet and laser cut parts gives them a strong, bold, beautiful finish that protects them from corrosion and other damages.
If you have any questions, feel free to email us, support@sendcutsend.com, or visit our website, sendcutsend.com. Thanks, guys.
All right, before I show you my parts, you should know that I do some metalworking, not much, but when I need to go down to the steel shop or the metal shop, buy some material. I can either cut it out with a grinder or my plasma cutter, which is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. So they charged me $6 and some change for each part, which is a great price, because that's probably what it would cost me in the materials to go down to the metal shop and buy it anyway. But I'm not spending the labor to get it cut out, and it's straighter and probably nicer. Now, watching the commercials, you expect it to be nice, clean, perfect parts. But that's not what I got. So let me show you what I have here. I just pulled these out this morning. They're not bad. Like the size, the dimensions, all that, it's perfect. But if you notice, we have all these scratches in here. They say in the commercial that you're not going to catch the scratches with your fingernail. You definitely are. It's not a bad scratch, but it's still a pretty good scratch, And that's common on all of them. Well, at least what I've pulled out. These obviously haven't pulled out yet. Might as well do that now. So it's not nice, but it's usable. A little something there, but I'll probably rub that off. So yeah. Anyway, you kind of get an idea of what we have here. Just rough, dirty parts. It's normal for something I would cut out. But I paid a professional to do it. Now, I was actually going to have these finished. I was going to have some type of plating on it, whether it be powder coating or one of their plating options. I was going to do something, but I decided against it since it was going to be my first order and I didn't know what to expect. So I just ordered them as is. It saved me some money. Great. But I'm really glad I didn't, because this isn't a nice part. This isn't ready for finishing. Edge quality video, they constantly talk about their edge quality and how good it is. And it is. It's a nice edge in some spots. We have a pretty significant razor sharp little tab hanging out on each one of these. Let's see if I can get a piece of paper to show you. Like that one's not that bad. It's there, but it's not that bad. Some of them are a little more pronounced than others. Let me zoom in so you really get an idea of what I'm talking about. So yeah, we have basically a razor sharp little indent. I don't know what that comes from or why it's there. Looking at it, it doesn't look like it was cut with a plasma cutter, because we don't have any of that that kind of rolled edge you get with a plasma or any of those plasma marks. So I want to say, given the I don't know, heat discoloration on the edge, it was probably cut with a laser. In which case, the laser doesn't actually contact the part. It just goes around it, you know, just barely above it. So no contact. So these tabs, I would expect if we were using like a CNC router, you know, the router would, see if I can demonstrate my theory here. The router would enter like this, come around, cut the part out. It would exit to give you a little tab to hold it down to the material so the router can continue cutting. But again, there's no contact here. I don't know why we have these tabs. So my next thought is maybe it's the way the laser enters the part. So in the center here, it probably enters with a spiral pattern to cut out the hole and then exits the same way to have a nice clean inner hole. But it can't do that necessarily with the outer. So what I think happens is the laser comes in over here, kind of makes a sweeping motion, starts cutting. And then at some point it exits for whatever reason, re-enters and continues cutting, and then re-exits at the point here. That's why I think we have these two tabs. Or these tabs are intentional. The laser cuts to here, stops, goes over to here, cuts, stops, re-enters here, and goes. That way there's just a little bit of part hanging on so the part doesn't move. I don't know the manufacturing process of their laser cutter, so I don't know why they're there, but they are there. Nowhere in their commercials does it mention you're going to have tabs. And watching their commercials, I expect these things to be already dibbered or sanded through their sanding machine, but it doesn't happen. So I emailed them to find out why. As they said in their commercial, if I had any concerns, I could contact them, so I did just that. And here's the email I received back. It looks like your parts were cut from mild steel, which isn't eligible for our complimentary deburring service because this will cause the parts to rust. You are correct about the tabs. These will not be removed prior to finishing services, but we do our best to keep the tabs to a minimum. And the tabs are generally less pronounced in thinner materials. This is a trade-off that may work for some projects, but not others. Again, nowhere in their commercials do they mention those razor-sharp tabs being on the edge of the parts. I wasn't aware that they weren't going to deburr the mild steel. It just was never mentioned. Had I have bought the additional $8 to $10 finishing service, my honest opinion is it would have came out just absolutely disgusting. I would have had to grind off those tabs, thus ruining the finish. The surface of the part wouldn't have been any better because they weren't going to clean that up either. So it would have been a complete waste of time and money, and they would have gladly accepted it. Would there have been any recourse or a return or refund or anything like that? Remake? Absolutely not. Let me show you why. In the email they sent me a link to their website outlining their services. What I would consider this is their disclosure, if this were a contract. What to expect? There will be some minor imperfections. Okay, fine. Bottom face will have minor scratches. Okay, they have that. There will be small tabs on the edges of your part left over from the machining process. These cannot be removed by our deburring process. Okay, don't put them there to begin with. I don't know how to solve that, but get rid of those tabs. Some edges will be sharp, and some edges may be slightly rounded. So when we hop on YouTube and look at Send Cut Send videos, they show these amazing, beautiful parts. You know, you would expect, you know, your parts to be just as nice. Unfortunately, you really can't. This is just sales hyperbole. It's perfectly legal to oversell the product as long as you disclose it over here, letting you know how it's really going to be. There may not be any truth in advertising, but there is truth in the disclosures, so you got to read the fine print. With that said, I didn't read the fine print, but I'm glad I didn't get it finished either. I still have usable parts. I can clean them up. I can make them work. I can finish them myself or send them somewhere to get finished after they're cleaned up. That's not an issue. So this video isn't to sway you away from Send Cut Send. It's more of to sway you away from their advertising. This is the kind of stuff you should expect, not what they show you in their videos. That's the best example they have, and that's what they showed you. They're not going to show you the worst or even the average. Yeah. As I stated earlier, ordering it from them was probably cheaper than me going down to the metal shop and buying my own metal. So I'll continue to use them, but at least now I know.